Mara Quinn saw the empty space where the bridge should have been. Then she heard the freight wagon. Heavy, fast, close. She had no rifle, no signal flag, and no time to make the driver understand. So she turned her mare into the road and made herself the last thing he could afford to hit. The spring storm had torn the center span from Dry Creek Bridge some time before dawn. One end still clung to the canyon wall. The other hung in splintered ropes above brown, violent water. From the east, the crossing looked almost normal. A driver would not see the missing boards until the final bend. By then, a loaded wagon would be too heavy to stop. Mara had been riding west alone for 11 days, carrying a bedroll, a sewing kit, and $14 sewn into the lining of her coat. At 24, she had already buried her mother, lost her father to a mine collapse, and learned that most towns were generous with advice but careful with bread. Still, she had not learned how to look away. A 6-horse freight team burst into view between the red cliffs. The wagon behind them was stacked high, with flour, seed grain, medicine crates, and lamp oil. The man on the box wore a dust-dark coat and handled the reins like someone who had driven that road 100 times. He saw Mara waving and shouted for her to clear the trail. She pointed toward the bend. He could not hear her over the wheels. Worse, he mistook her panic for a stranded traveler begging for help. The reins snapped. The team came faster. Mara's mare shied beneath her. Every sensible instinct told her to move. She did the opposite. She pulled the mare broadside across the road. The led horses threw up their heads. The driver hauled back with both hands. Wood screamed. Iron rims carved trenches through the dirt. One crate broke loose and slammed against the wagon gate. The team stopped so close that Mara could feel hot breath from the led horse against her sleeve. For one suspended second, no one moved. Then the driver climbed down. He was broad-shouldered, perhaps 40, with gray beginning at his temples and anger still in his voice. "Lady, are you trying to get yourself killed?" Mara pointed past him. "Walk 10 yards. Something in her face made him obey. They rounded the bend together. The anger left him. Below them, half the bridge rolled and twisted in the floodwater like broken ribs. The man's knees nearly gave way. His wagon carried fever medicine for 3 ranches, seed for the valley farms, and enough lamp oil to keep the schoolhouse and church supplied for months. Another half-minute, and the canyon would have taken all of it, including him. He removed his hat. "My name is Caleb Rourke," he said, "and I owe you more than I can say." Mara looked back at the trembling horses. "You owe them a slower road." That answer surprised a laugh out of him. It was the first sound either of them made that did not belong to fear. They spent the next hour unloading the heaviest crates and turning the wagon on the narrow shelf road. Caleb noticed how carefully Mara checked each medicine box before setting it down. He noticed the torn cuff of her coat, the calluses on her fingers, and the way she divided the last of her dried apples with her mare. He offered her money. She refused. He offered twice as much. She refused again. Finally, he asked where she was headed. "Anywhere that pays honest wages." Caleb studied her for a moment. "My ranch needs someone who can keep accounts, mend what the bunkhouse destroys, and tell the truth when it would be easier not to." Mara's expression hardened. "I do not take charity." "Good," he said. "I am not offering any. By sunset." Mara was riding beside the freight wagon toward Rourke Ranch. Neither of them understood that the broken bridge had already changed direction twice. Once for the wagon, and once for her. Rourke Ranch sat in a wide basin of cottonwoods and yellow grass, with a long adobe house facing the western ridge. It was prosperous, but not warm. Caleb's wife had died 3 years earlier during a winter fever. Since then, the house had become quiet enough to hear every clock. His 8-year-old daughter, Lucy, watched Mara arrive from behind a porch post. She had Caleb's dark eyes and the careful stillness of a child who had learned not to expect people to stay. Mara did not rush toward her. She only knelt to unbuckle her bedroll and said, "Your father drives too fast." Lucy stared at Caleb. Then, for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Mara began work the next morning. She balanced ledgers Caleb had neglected for months. She stitched torn shirts without turning the task into a favor. She reorganized the medicine cabinet and marked every bottle in a hand large enough for the ranch hands to read in poor light. She earned every dollar placed in her envelope. That mattered to her. So Caleb made sure everyone understood it mattered to him too. Weeks became months. The ranch changed in small ways first. A blue cloth appeared on the kitchen table. Biscuits stopped arriving burned on one side. Lucy began reading aloud after supper. The men came in quieter because the house no longer felt like a place where grief was sleeping. Mara never tried to replace Lucy's mother. She became something different. The person Lucy looked for when a foal was sick. The person Caleb trusted with a decision before he trusted himself. And the person who still kept her packed bedroll beneath the bed. She told herself it was practical. People left. Work ended. Kindness changed its mind. A ready bedroll could not betray her. Then the summer rain failed. By August, the north pasture had turned brittle. Hay prices doubled. 2 wells dropped low enough to show mud at the bottom. Caleb began selling cattle before he was ready. He cut his own meals, delayed repairs, and paid every ranch hand on time, including Mara. One night, she passed the office and heard him speaking with the livestock buyer. "The north herd goes too," Caleb said. The buyer hesitated. "That was your recovery stock." "I know." "And the woman in the house keeps full wages." Caleb's voice sharpened. "She is not charity. I gave her my word." Mara stood in the dark hallway with her hand against the wall. The north herd was how Caleb planned to rebuild after the drought. Mara understood promises. She also understood what it meant to become expensive. Before dawn, she packed her coat, her sewing kit, and the $14 she had never spent. She left every wage envelope on the kitchen table. Beside them, she placed a note. "You kept your word. I will not let keeping it cost Lucy her future." She reached Dry Creek just as the sky began turning silver. The bridge was no longer broken. Caleb had paid local timber crews to rebuild it stronger, with stone footing set deep into both banks. Fresh pine rails caught the first light. Mara stopped in the middle. For months she had imagined crossing that bridge west when the ranch no longer needed her. She had never imagined how much it would hurt. Behind her, hoofbeats struck the road hard. Caleb rode out of the cottonwoods, hatless, with Lucy clinging to the saddle in front of him. He dismounted before the horse fully stopped. "You left your pay. You were selling the herd that was supposed to save this ranch. I was selling cattle because the grass was gone, to keep paying me. To keep every promise I made under my roof," he said. "Your wages were not the reason, they were the promise I refused to break." Mara looked away. Gratitude can sound like love when a man is lonely. Caleb went still. Then he reached into his coat and held out her first wage envelope. The paper was worn at the folds. "I kept this after you spent the money," he said. "Do you know why?" She shook her head. "Because that was the day the debt ended." He stepped closer. Everything after that was choice. Lucy slid down from the saddle and wrapped both arms around Mara's waist. Caleb's voice broke. "You saved my life at this crossing, but you did not earn a place in our home by almost dying for me." He glanced at Lucy, then back at Mara. "You earned it every morning you stayed." Mara had spent years believing home was a place other people could remove from beneath her. Caleb was asking her to believe it could also be something 3 people chose together. He did not kneel. He did not offer land, money, or rescue. He offered the one thing she had never trusted enough to ask for. "Come back," he said. "Not as my employee. Not as a debt I am trying to repay. Come back as the woman I love, and if you will have us, as my wife." Mara looked down at Lucy's arms around her. Then at the bridge beneath her boots, built where the old one had failed, stronger because someone had remembered exactly how it broke. "Yes," she whispered. The drought ended 2 weeks later with a slow, steady rain that soaked the valley without flooding it. By autumn, Mara and Caleb were married beneath the cottonwoods behind the ranch house. Lucy stood between them, holding a bouquet of rabbit brush and white asters. No one spoke about debts. There were none left. Years later, travelers still crossed the stone-footed bridge at Dry Creek. Most never knew why one of the pine rails carried 3 small marks cut into the wood. C for Caleb, L for Lucy, and M for the woman who once stood in front of 6 frightened horses because a stranger's life mattered. The bridge had stopped a wagon from falling. But courage had done something harder. It had taught Mara that home was not the place where she was finally allowed to stay. It was the place where leaving would break more than one heart.